Welcome back, book talk enthusiasts, to another exciting episode of Dragons and Spaceships, where we shine a spotlight on all the sci-fi and fantasy books that are taking the platform by a storm. I'm your host, Brandy, and today we are diving into the cosmos with a book that has captured the imaginations of readers worldwide, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. But before we dive into this book, let's take a look at the realm and galactic rankings of trending books this week. For this week, we have A Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell, The Life Impossible by Matt Haig, Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune, The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart, and The Vilest Things by Chloe Gong. Okay, back to our book this week, Project Hail Mary. Weir is best known for The Martian, but with Project Hail Mary, he's crafted another thrilling, science-packed adventure, one that takes a solitary human protagonist and pits him against an extinction-level threat to Earth. Sound intense? Oh, it is. And it's filled with Weir's signature mix of humor, hardcore science, and surprising emotional depth. If you haven't read the book yet, be warned, this episode will contain spoilers, so hit pause, read the book, and then come back to join us on this epic journey. So let's start with the basics. Project Hail Mary follows the story of Ryland Grace, a former scientist turned middle school teacher who wakes up alone on a spaceship with no memory of who he is and why he is there. As he begins to piece together his memory, he realizes he's on a suicide mission to save humanity from a global catastrophe. The mission: stop the mysterious cosmic organism known as astrophage, which is draining the energy from the sun, dooming Earth to an icy death. So here's where I want to start with Ryland Grace. He's not your typical action hero. He's a scientist, sure, but he didn't sign up for this. Grace is clever, funny, and deeply relatable, but he's basically just a guy in over his head. So let's talk about what makes him an engaging protagonist. In many ways, Grace is cut from the same cloth as Mark Watney, the protagonist of The Martian. He's optimistic, a problem solver, and he uses humor as a coping mechanism. But there's more depth to Grace because he's not exactly a hero by choice. He was forced into this role by Eva Stratt, a powerful, no-nonsense global leader who made some tough, even morally questionable decisions to save Earth. And that's where Project Hail Mary really shines. This novel doesn't just throw scientific jargon at us. Sure, we get plenty of that. Orbital mechanics, biology, and chemistry, but it's Grace's inner journey that hooks us. The stakes are high, and throughout the book, he faces the crushing weight of knowing that he may fail and that there's no one to help him if things go wrong. But instead of wallowing in despair, Grace pulls through with ingenuity and certain boyish charm. Let's not forget, Grace is also dealing with total amnesia when the story begins. Weir uses this amnesia as a tool to slowly unfold the backstory of Grace and the mission. It's a great way to reveal the mystery while keeping readers intrigued. Now, speaking of revelations, let's get to the part that surprised a lot of us: Rocky. Yes, the alien. Weir pulls an unexpected twist by introducing another spacefaring species that is facing the same threat from astrophage. This is where the book elevates from a man alone in space narrative to a story of deep collaboration. Rocky is a member of the alien species called the Iridians, and let me tell you, he is one of the most memorable characters in modern sci-fi. He's a 5-limbed rock-like creature who communicates through musical tones, a stark contrast to Grace's very human, very fallible nature. Yet the relationship between these two beings become the emotional core to the novel. It's heartwarming, filled with moments of humor and genuine camaraderie. And the way they communicate, it's nothing short of brilliant. They literally have to build a language together. You feel the painstaking work that they put in to understand each other, but it's also a testament to Weir's optimistic view of the universe, that cooperation, even between vastly different species, can lead to incredible outcomes. The friendship between Grace and Rocky is the heart of Project Hail Mary. It shows that even in the most extreme circumstances, the ability to connect, share knowledge, and support one another can transcend boundaries. They're from two different worlds, literally, but together they pool their knowledge to solve problems and save not just one planet, but two. It's science fiction at its best, combining a love for science and exploration with themes of trust, empathy, and teamwork. Rocky isn't just a sidekick, he's an equal partner, and he's just as crucial to the story's success as Grace. There's this deep bond between them that is kind of rare in a genre often dominated by high-stakes drama, but not necessarily deep friendships. Rocky's mechanical engineering skills complement Grace's biological expertise, and together they make an unstoppable team. But what's a space story without high stakes? And does Project Hail Mary deliver? The science that Weir introduces from the nature of the astrophage to the mechanics of interstellar travel is meticulously researched. Weir does at what he's best at. He takes real science and pushes it to the limits, but in the ways that feel plausible. Grace faces multiple moral dilemmas, especially toward the novel's conclusion, where he has to decide whether to return to Earth or stay and ensure Rocky's planet survives. So let's talk about that ending. Grace makes the ultimate sacrifice, or does he? I think the ending is one of the most satisfying aspects of the book because it stays true to Weir's optimistic tone. Grace doesn't go back to Earth as a hero, but instead he becomes a hero to an entirely different species. He chooses to help Rocky, and in doing so, the story is about more than just saving humanity. It's about making the choice to help others even when there's no reward waiting. It's a hopeful, heartfelt message. It reinforces the idea that compassion and collaboration can transcend any obstacle, even one as big as interstellar distance. So there you have it. Project Hail Mary, a story that combines thrilling space adventure with deep emotional connections. Andy Weir's ability to take hard science and weave it into a compelling narrative is truly unmatched. But it's the friendship between Grace and Rocky that makes this book unforgettable. Before we go today, we have our 2 other segments to go over. First, we have the Dragon's Roar. In today's Dragon's Roar, we are delving into the latest drama or news in the book industry. So recently, Brandon Sanderson shared the cover for Wind and Truth, the final installment in his first arc of the Stormlight Archive. This book will be released on December 6th of this year, so make sure you check it out. Next, we have the Sorcerer's Scrolls, where we can look at some forthcoming fables and quests that you can embark on soon. An exciting new fantasy release to look out for is by Amy Liao, and it just recently came out this month on September 10th, 2024. It's called The Scarlet Throne, and it kicks off the False Goddess trilogy. The story follows Binsa, who is a living goddess with a dark secret. She's actually possessed by a demon. Things get crazy when her rule is threatened, and she makes a dangerous pact that throws her into a world of magic, tough moral choices, and intense political drama. If you love complex characters and an epic fantasy with lots of gray areas, this is one you can't miss. So let me know what you think once you get your hands on it, and maybe we'll cover it on the podcast. Well, that's it for today's episode of Dragons and Spaceships. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the realms and starships. And thank you for joining me on this deep dive into Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. If you have read the book, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to find us on social media for more quick and engaging book reviews and recommendations. Until next time, happy reading, stay curious, and keep exploring the fantastical and futuristic. And may your TBR pile never stop growing.